Hey, look what we have found. A big sound in a small town. Far away from the bright lights. They're making music every night. Discover what is all around. A big sound. A big sound. In a small town. Big sound, small town. A really big sound. Big sound, small town.
You're listening to Big Sound, Small Town with Sandy Carlton.
Hi, welcome to Season 4 of Big Sound, Small Town. I'm your host, Sandy Carlton. Join me as musicians tell their stories about how they became musicians and the stories along the way.
Come on in. We got some good blues in here tonight. Come on in. We got some good blues in here tonight. Let your hair down, mama, and I'm gonna go turn down the lights. Sweetest peaches, they sure don't grow on no tree. The sweetest peaches, they sure don't grow on no tree. You know the sweetest honey, it sure don't come from no bee. Come on in. We got some good blues in here tonight. Come on in. We got some good blues in here tonight. Going down at the Earl Scruggs Center. Come on in. And we gonna turn down the lights. I am Carolina Slim out of Greenville, South Carolina.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's a really cool name. Where'd that come from?
Well, my name is Gary Fann, is my real name, and but people can never seem to remember Gary. Call me Greg, Gray, everything but Gary, right?
Yeah.
And so I come from a construction background. Been working in construction my entire life, and basically just people couldn't remember my name. They just started calling me Slim.
Well, you are Slim. I mean,
so I am a beanpole, and I've been that way my entire life. But in no lies, I added the Carolina to it,
sure,
just to because there's a lot of Slims, and
sure.
So yeah. That's it, man. I'm Slim, and I'm from Carolina.
And it's a great blues name.
That's
you
it.
know,
That's it.
you know.
A lot of my heroes had you got Memphis Slim. And,
Sure.
A lot of blues greats that I like have they used where they're from
Sure.
as a way to let everybody else around the world know.
Or something about them as Slim.
Right.
Lightning Hopkins, and we've had that talk,
Yeah.
Mississippi John Hurt,
Exactly.
So it's a blues tradition.
It is, and I like it because every state, every region kind of has its own different spin on the blues.
They do. I agree.
So what those guys were doing was letting people know what to expect ahead of time.
I didn't really realize that, but that's a good take on it. Yeah, that's really
it
good.
was. And if you wanted gigs, back in the, now I'm talking the folk day era when all the folkies started bringing the blues guys back out. The best way to get the gigs was being from Mississippi.
True, that's true. Yeah, it is. It is.
And so a lot of guys just started adding these little tags onto their names just to let promoters know that I'm the real deal.
I'm the real deal. I'm not from Gastonia. It's like, hey, I'm the real deal. Yeah, I think they even did that when they took themselves to Chicago and had a whole different type of thing. It's like, yeah, I'm here, man. I'm the real deal.
Yeah, I'm from Mississippi.
Yeah, I'm from Mississippi.
Chicago to make it.
Yeah, yeah. And I do it a little different now that I'm up here, but it's like, yeah, I think so. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's a take on it that people that aren't real familiar, everybody loves the blues and nobody knows a thing about them.
That's exactly right. And I'm familiar with your podcast, Sandy, and so I know you really kind of like to start it with where you started from and where you're at now, kind of thing.
Yeah, I do.
And in all honesty, just to jump right into it, you and I were talking about writing songs and stuff. I used to write songs. I wanted to be a songwriter.
Right.
When I was 14, 15 years old, I said I wanted to grow up and be a songwriter. And at this time, I had already written songs. Now, of course, I was a kid. They weren't the songs I thought they were,
I will tell you the truth. It's what I always wanted to be. A lot of people have a lot of things they want. You know what I've always wanted? One good song. One song that I could say, this is a great song. I'm glad I wrote it. The rest of my life, it don't matter what I do now because I've got this one good song.
Well, I'm glad you said that because this is what happened. I was writing songs, but I had no interest in learning an instrument.
Right.
I didn't want to learn an instrument.
Right.
I wanted to write.
Yeah.
I was fascinated with words. And you can manipulate them.
Oh, I'm the same way, man.
So it started with poetry. When I as a kid, we're supposed to read all the time, right? That's what kids are supposed to do, read books.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still ADHD to this day, and I can't focus long enough
to read
a
book.
book.
Entire book, yeah.
But I could read a poem.
Right.
And I could comprehend it.
Yeah.
And to me, poems, with reading poetry, it opened up a whole new world. You get this imagery and all this kind of stuff.
You do. I agree.
And my favorite thing was the way you could, again, manipulate words. And you could make a spin on things, and it would just, in a way that people would say, that's clever. You could be clever with words.
Yeah.
And I was always fascinated with that. So by age 11 or 12, I started writing songs without playing an instrument.
Right.
I played high school concert band, and I was trying to be a drummer.
Right.
Reading sheet music was not my thing, and they wanted drummers to read sheet music.
Right, yeah.
And I'm like, can you just play the tune and let me just figure it out in my head and I'll play it? And they're like, well, don't work that way.
Yep.
Here's a triangle. Hit this triangle. So I was like, are you serious? So I did that for a couple years, but I had a drum kit at the house, and I would literally write songs behind a drum kit.
Yeah.
Just keeping a 4/4 time.
That's cool, man.
That's all you needed.
You're the only person that I've ever met that was a songwriter with a drum kit,
So by the time I was 23 I'm gonna say 23 years old, I had already written over 300 songs.
Wow.
And could not play an instrument.
Wow.
To save my life.
That's wild.
And a lot of that was going back to the ADHD with trying to learn an instrument. Now I had a guitar since I was 15, but I just could not make myself sit still long enough to learn how to play it.
Yeah.
But I could sit and beat on something.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that. Yeah.
So, and as life would have it, I found the love of my life. I got married, and I just kind of stepped away from it. And I was like, well, prior to that, I was pitching these songs, right, but with no music.
Right.
I was literally sending
so that's kind of hard.
Yeah. To people and say, hey. Can you play this song?
Yeah.
And like just local people.
Right.
I'm like, hey man, I really enjoy your music. Would you mind looking at this song I wrote and play it? And of course, I'd never hear back from anybody.
Yeah. I get that.
They had no way of knowing, what the song sounds like.
Right.
And I'm like, this.
And you could hear it in your head.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I got married, settled, and had a couple kids and everything, and I'm kind of moving this right along. So, Sandy, I would be at age 34 before I learned how to play the guitar.
For real?
Yeah.
You play really well, though.
I'm 41 now.
You play
I started
really
at
well.
34, and my poor wife and kids, they have been the most supportive. So you got to imagine when you've been married for 10 years and got 2 kids, and then you say, "Hey,
I'm going to learn to play guitar."
Really want to learn how to play guitar. Not only that, I want to be a performing musician.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So that was a little tough, but man, they had my back since day one. This was 2014, 2015, and
super.
We're still rocking and rolling. And so what I'm getting to is your point about the one song. Just got to get that one song. So I finally learned how to play guitar about 2014. I locked myself in the garage after everybody went to sleep, and I would just spend all night in the garage learning how to play guitar. Yeah. And finally, damn if I didn't learn how to play it. I've learned that all it does is take time.
Yeah, it does.
It just takes time.
Yep.
So I got decent at it, and I still got a long ways to go, no doubt.
Well, everyone has a long ways to go with guitar.
In 2015, I finally wrote the song I always wanted to write.
Oh, really?
And it was about my hometown. It was about Greenville, South Carolina, and actually North Carolina. So I was born and raised in TR.
Yeah.
In Travelers Rest, and we spent a lot of time coming up to the mountain.
Yeah, because it's just right there.
It's right there. So I mean, sometimes it was like, should we go to Hendersonville or should we go in town?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it was. We spent a lot of time in North Carolina, and I wrote this song called "State Line," and it's basically about living close to the Carolina state line, and it really kind of launched me into the performing career. Again, I pitched the song. Now, by this time I could play, so I made a little rough demo, and I pitched the song for like a year. I won a couple little small, nothing songwriter awards for the song, and it kind of made me feel good.
Yeah,
and I was
sure.
like, well, I'm going to pitch this thing.
Yeah.
Well, I pitched it a lot, and nobody
ever
even commented back. So,
do you still do that song?
I don't. I haven't performed it in 3 or 4 years.
I just wondered if you still do that song or not.
I have to do it.
Yeah,
it is not blues.
That's okay.
So this is you had Scott Miller on the program.
I did.
A while back. I saw Scott Miller perform in the year 2000. He had this song. He had an album out called "Are You With Me Now?"
Yeah.
And it was solo acoustic.
Mm-hmm.
He was supporting this album. And when I saw that, I said, "This is what I want to do."
Oh yeah, I mean, I agree.
And when I tried to learn, I was like, "This is way too hard. I can't do it." So fast forward, Scott Miller was a huge inspiration to me to be a songwriter.
Scott's a fine songwriter, and I that's a good. If you're going to take inspiration, Scott Miller's a good one for it.
That album, Are You With Me? Are You Still With Me? So much imagery in his writing.
It is.
In fact, he opened your show with my favorite song of all time, the Amtrak Crescent,
yeah.
4-man's train.
Well, and he when he was on the show, he told about taking the band out and riding that train, which is of all the things that I've been around, I think there would be nothing cooler than touring on a train and getting off and playing at places and getting back on and going right back up.
That would be awesome.
I mean, to me, he lived like the perfect dream to me.
No doubt.
And he thinks it was too. I mean, he thinks that was about the coolest thing you could ever do.
Absolutely.
And it is.
And as you guys discuss, in the music world, you go headstrong into something, and then one day it's over.
It is over. And
you got to go to the next thing.
Yeah, you do. You do.
And that's just part of it. But that's what makes us artists, and that's what makes us grow as artists. So I'm doing open mics.
Yeah.
Performing original songs.
Right.
Because that's where you perform original songs.
It is. I mean,
especially when you're still learning how to play guitar.
Well, even it is even after you've been doing it forever.
Right.
I mean, and you're lucky if you can find. A lot of times at open mics, you will get people that listen.
That's right.
As opposed to being the background music, because one of my favorite tricks is I've played places and changed the words to songs and changed them to horrible things just to see if anybody was listening. And it's like they didn't even hear a bit of that. And it's like they didn't hear a word. They didn't know what I just said.
I do that all the time.
I'm not advocating for that. If you're listening, don't do that. But
so I'm at an open mic. I'm playing open mic for like 2 years, and I'm playing all original music. And it's not blues.
Right.
It is not blues. It's singer songwriter.
Yeah.
It's in the Scott Miller range.
Sure.
Just for the lack of just for reference.
Sure.
So solo acoustic, and I'm having fun.
All right.
I'm having fun with it. And open mics are musicians supporting musicians.
It is. Yes,
you don't really have. There's really not a crowd to come in there and listen to nobody specifically.
No.
And but what I learned was that everybody was supportive.
True. They are.
And there was a wide range of. There were people who were good enough to go on tour.
Sure.
Playing these things.
Wide range
and there were people that
could barely play.
Right.
And shouldn't be.
But everybody was supportive.
Sure, I agree.
So I'm at an open mic, and I'm playing State Line, and this song is actually starting to get me gigs. People want me to come gig.
Right.
This is like the only song I got. Little, I didn't want nobody to know, but like this is pretty much the only song I got that's worth anything.
Yeah.
So in fact, a lady. Where I'm playing the open mic, she books me for a full show. And basically by the end of the gig, she wanted me out of there because basically
that was the only song.
That was it, man. So I was like, oh man, this is rough. So I'm playing the open mic. I get off stage. These three kids come up. And I'm 41. They were in their 20s. They get up. 3 kids get up and they play 3 songs that all sound the same. 12-bar blues.
Right.
Well, when I played before them, nobody was paying me any attention.
Right.
When these 3 guys get up and they start playing 12-bar blues, people start standing up, clapping, tapping their feet, and I'm like, "You gotta be shit. You gotta be.
Yeah, you can say it.
You gotta be shitting me."
Yeah, you can say that.
Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I love the blues. I said, I didn't feel like that was my thing.
Right.
Like to play the blues.
Yeah.
But I've listened to it my entire life, and I love it. And I'm like, crap, I'm doing this all wrong.
I'm a blues player.
I think I'm a blues player now. So, I go home that night. I put every song I wrote in a folder, and I put it in a drawer, and
started over.
I just said, you know what? I'm starting from scratch. And I said, I've been doing it wrong the whole time. So I immerse myself in the music, and more importantly, in the history. So not just listening to the music, but read a lot of reading.
Well, I think you have to, particularly with something like the blues. I think you have to get the right feeling for blues. You kind of have to understand the whole deal with it.
Absolutely. And especially nowadays.
Yeah.
It's a big world now.
It is a big world.
You had Freddie Vanderford on the podcast.
Yes.
It's been over a year ago now. when I was 15 years old, my dad, I was listening to a lot of pop music. I was born in 1981. You know, the 80s was the opening of pop culture
Sure.
and advertising and all the silly pop songs
Right.
and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what I listened to because
Sure.
that's what was on the radio.
That's what's on the radio. Yeah.
And every day after church, me and my sister would rush to the radio to listen to the top 40. Casey
Sure.
Kasem.
Casey
top
Kasem.
40.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And my dad, it would just drive my dad insane. He was like, this is not, you know, my dad's 70.
Right.
So he grew up with all the good music.
Right. Yeah.
Nah. He grew up with all the classic
He
rock,
did.
you know,
Yeah,
back
he
when
did.
it was
Sure.
you know, the original stuff. So one day he takes me by the arm. He said, I'm taking you to go listen to a real band at a bar. He takes me to this bar in downtown Greenville called the Handlebar.
Yeah. I knew it well.
And there's a band up there a blues band playing on the stage called The Shades.
Mm-hmm.
And the lead singer of that band is Freddie Vanderford
Yep.
playing harmonica.
Yep.
And holy shit, I have never seen anything like this in my life.
right.
I've been listening to pop music.
Yeah.
And I'm 15, and prior to that, I'd only been to one concert, and that was Crisscross.
Yeah. Yeah. See,
remember Crisscross?
Yeah, I do. Sailing.
The rap band.
Oh,
the rap
oh,
band.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I know
Jump,
that too. Yeah,
jump.
yeah, jump. Yeah, yeah.
So I went. So my dad's like, "This something's got to change." So you know, he carries me, and from that point on, I said, "Man, this is some good stuff." I know I'm getting a little wishy-washy
No,
here
it's
with
fine.
the timing, but so
But you had that in the back of your mind. You already kind of had that established.
well, at 15, I started listening to the blues.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was, you know, it was one of those things where, you know, I loved it, but I didn't see me ever doing it.
Right,
It was
exactly.
it was
Sure.
great music, and I
Yeah.
was like, man, I love it. This is cool. But I did my own thing. So
Right.
it wasn't till I was really in a setting where I saw how people reacted to one types of music
Sure.
versus another,
Yeah.
and you know, what I like first and foremost is entertaining people. I was the class clown in
Sure.
school, and I've just always been. I've always had this mindset of entertaining people.
Yeah.
And if you follow me on Facebook, you know I'm not shy. I like doing some crazy things on Facebook just for entertainment purposes. And first and foremost, I've always wanted to be an entertainer.
Right.
I didn't know what that avenue was going to
Right.
be to do it. I originally thought I was going to tell jokes, be
Yeah.
a stand-up
Yeah.
comedian. I'm
Which is
terrible at
hard.
it.
It was horrible.
It's the hardest thing in the
It's
world.
hard. It's really hard. So many funny people, once they have to stand up there and do it, it's not funny. And I
Right.
don't know why it is. Yeah.
Well, a lot of people, I'm what they call situational funny. And I can be funny in situations.
Right.
But when you got to go tell a joke, I can't tell a joke to save my life. So I see these guys, and man, from right then on, and that's kind of what sparked the whole thing. And I left this open mic that night, and I said, I'm going to put these down, and I really need to learn the damn guitar.
Right.
And I've always knew every guitar player I've ever known that can play well, they said they started playing the blues first.
Yeah, they do.
And half of them said Lightning Hopkins.
Well, I agree. I
And I was
mean,
like, well, I mean, that makes sense because you can hear Lightning playing and
Yes,
a
you
lot
can.
of music.
yes, you can.
And so that's kind of just where I got started at it. And I've had a blast. I have had a blast. There is nothing more enjoyable than playing music to a crowd of people, listening, tapping in their
True.
feet.
I agree.
And I've learned that everybody says they don't like the blues, but everybody loves the blues,
Well, you know,
whether they know it or not.
It's infectious, really. I mean, you can walk into a place and they can be playing something else, but somebody starts playing the blues and it changes the whole attitude, atmosphere. You know, it's like, oh,
Absolutely.
you know, people stop what they're doing and go, oh, you know.
Yep.
And it's the same three chords for since the start.
Quit giving my secret away. I tell you what, and what's been, I tell you, playing with Freddie. Now I'm playing. So when I was 15, I saw Freddie play for the first time, and when I was about 39, I got a chance to start playing with Freddie.
That's pretty cool.
Man, it's been, holy cow, that's a dream come true
Well,
for me.
I mean, Freddie really is.
He's the blues.
He is, and he is actually a South Carolina treasure. I mean, he's been involved in South Carolina music his whole life. He's established himself as a harmonica player.
Yep.
As the premier harmonica player in South Carolina.
And you know what? He did it before Facebook existed.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And you have to be damn good.
Yes, you do. I mean,
you
that's
can fake
been
it on Facebook nowadays.
That has been, and that I know very few people that can write down and say, I have been a harmonica player for my profession my whole entire life.
Yep.
But pretty much, Freddie can play guitar, and Freddie sings, but Freddie is a harmonica player. Make no bones about it.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll tell you that.
Damn good one.
And a damn good one. Yes, he is. And so much so that there's a commissioned picture of him.
That's right.
In the art museum in Columbia playing harmonica. Now, I know a lot of harmonica players, and I know good harmonica players like Kim Wilson.
Yeah.
But none of those guys have their picture painted in the state capitol.
See?
You know?
So, and it's so cool, and I'm very honored to be playing with Freddie now, and something I've never even considered ever.
That it would happen.
That would happen.
Because you played with harmonica players before.
So when I finally got the blues going in about 2016, 2017, I was rocking and rolling. I was gigging.
All right.
I was gigging, and
were you playing original blues in?
No. So, and I don't. Honestly, I don't play any original blues now.
Right.
Everything I play is a homage to the guys
that did
it way before me. And honestly, my favorite blues is Lightning Hopkins and before him.
Yeah. Yeah.
before rock and roll, really.
Sure.
I'm a pre-rock and roll blues guy.
It's the basis of rock and roll.
It is.
It
is. And I'm a big Son House, Mississippi Fred McDowell.
Sure.
I like the old stuff, and I'm an acoustic player. I love the acoustic stuff.
Yeah, the acoustic blues. Well, see, I'm an old guy, so I heard all that stuff. I mean, they were, as blues goes, they were the popular blues guys.
That's right.
Then, because I'm an old guy, so I heard that stuff early on, which was just.
And seeing Sonny and Terry, I'm a big Sonny Terry Brian McGee fan. And what happened was my harmonica. So I'm playing an open mic, doing original music. There's a guy showing up there playing harmonica to soundtracks, backing tracks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So he approaches me at an open mic. He said, "Look, man," he goes, "I'm looking for somebody to play some blues." And he was like, "I like your style." He goes, "I know you're not really playing blues, but he's like, would you be interested in playing blues with me?" And I was like, yeah. I was like, as a matter of fact,
yeah.
I do want to play blues.
Right.
And I've always wanted to play blues, but I said I've never really just had that direction to go in. And I was like, I'd love to do it. And I mean, it literally happened like that.
Wow.
So that led into really my first performing duo as the Carolina Beggars. It was me and a guy named Justin Armitage. And him and I just had amazing chemistry together.
Right.
You're a musician.
Sure.
When you play with people.
Sure.
You play with people you don't have any chemistry with. You just want to leave.
Right.
Like, this thing ain't working.
Right.
But then when you find somebody you jive with, you're like,
oh
man, I never want to leave you. Can I put a ring on it? Let me put a ring on it.
No, I do understand that.
So it's and we had a good run, and man, we had a lot of fun. And Freddie reached out to me one day, and he said, "Hey man, I really like what you guys got going on." And he said, I got my thing with Brandon, and I knew that. And he was doing some stuff with Michael J. King, And in all honesty, I've been watching these guys for 20
Sure,
years. You know, Freddie's
yeah.
been playing with Brandon
Oh,
1999.
They've been playing forever.
I've been watching them for years play all over town.
And before I forget it, Brandon Turner is one of the finest guitar players you'll ever want to find. Him tasteful. There's not probably a more tasteful guitar player than Brandon.
It's amazing. In fact, I'm telling you, Freddie puts me on stage with Brandon, and I'm like, man, I don't. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm scared, Freddie. Nah. So, but we were Freddie and Brandon. Actually, they do some Thursday night blues nights at Smiley's, and I went to catch a gig with them, and me and a couple buddies went and watched them, and Brandon was playing, and my buddy goes, that guy, where's that guy's looper pedal?
Oh, yeah.
And I said, looper pedal? What are you talking about? I was like, this guy don't even, he plugs straight in. He ain't got no pedals.
No, ain't no pedal.
He was like, you got to be shitting me. I'm like, no, this dude, he ain't got no looper. I was like, he's doing that with that's him.
That's him.
My buddy was blown away. And man, I've been blown away by Brandon for years. And
everybody's blown away by Brandon. And a nice guy, too.
Super
Quiet,
nice guy. I've since, over the last year that me and Freddie been playing together, I've got to know Brandon. We've done some gigs together, me, Freddie, and Brandon. And we're going to do one at the Freight Yard in Spartanburg coming up in September.
Yeah, Freight Yard's a great place.
That's a great place. I'm looking forward to that. I've actually never played there. Been wanting to play there for years. And gonna play me, Freddie, and Brandon gonna do that. And but you know, Freddie and Brandon got their thing. Me and Freddie do some stuff together. And man, I'm just having such a ball with it. And really, I look at it as an opportunity to really, we really got to showcase Freddie to a new crowd that's never seen him before.
Yeah, that's true.
And
a younger crowd, because he's had the same crowd. No offense, Freddie, but you've had the same crowd for years, man. It's a great crowd.
So I'm in Simpsonville these days, and we're getting a lot of gigs in Simpsonville, which Freddie just, you know, as luck would have it, just never really got to the Simpsonville side of town.
Right.
And we've been playing over there, and we've got such a huge response over there, and you know, Freddie's harp playing just blows everyone. Once he lights that thing up, people just stop, close their mouth, and just stare at.
He's the real deal.
We're just having a ball. We do some blues nights in Simpsonville at the end of every month, and we're having a ball with it. And the blues community in South Carolina is it's amazing. You know, everybody wants to see everybody do good.
They do.
And there's no, you know, everybody's helping everybody.
That's a South Carolina thing, though, is what I see, as opposed to a North Carolina thing. Is South Carolina musicians support each other.
We try.
You know?
And sometimes I feel I'm playing in a league now with a lot of veterans, and I'm a new guy.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like I shouldn't be here. You know, I get that imposter syndrome. But you know,
I'll tell you about the imposter syndrome, though. That is one of the really good things. You should always aspire to play with people better than you.
Well, and I agree with that.
The only way you get better, or the only way you get to be those guys, is to play with those guys.
Yep.
I mean, you know, that's how you do it.
And, you know, my father told me as a kid, he goes, you know, if you're not sitting in a room with people that know more than you, then you're in the wrong place.
You are.
He's like, you know, you got to be around people that know more than you.
Yep, you got to surround yourself.
That's the only way you're going to grow. And man, you know, that's been really evident in the last few years. It's just working with Freddie has just been a dream come true, man.
Yeah,
it's just been amazing.
I mean, Freddie's done about it all.
And you know, and that he has, and for him to be still so humble as he is just another icing on the cake.
And all out of Buffalo.
All out of Buffalo.
Out of Buffalo, South Carolina. I mean, you know.
So.
And he's proud of Buffalo.
You know, he lets everybody know at every gig that he's from Buffalo, and we're gonna let him know where Buffalo is. You know.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a good thing.
I love Buffalo. Freddie carried me down there, play some gigs in Union, and man, it's
that's
all my family's from Spartanburg County. My mom and dad both grew up in Spartanburg, and they moved us to Greenville, and been there. But I tell you, you know, Spartanburg got that's
Spartanburg.
That's where the gems are.
There's a vibe in Spartanburg that
it's the water. I go down there periodically just to bottle up some of the faucet water.
I agree. I mean, you talk about your music towns. Everybody's got their Austins. Everybody's got man. I'm telling you, Spartanburg has that vibe. If you're a musician and you almost pull into Spartanburg County, you get there. It's like you can just feel it, know.
And what has been so cool to me is that these guys don't give a shit about stardom.
No, they
Fame,
don't. And when they get it, they still live there or live there as much as they can.
I mean, it's
and
like,
claim it.
Fame. What's fame? We're musicians.
Sure.
We're playing music.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I thought if you were a musician, you had to be playing stadiums, sold out stadiums and stuff. I didn't know until I was older that there's local musicians.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
and then holy moly, I just discovered now all my favorite musicians are local musicians.
Sure.
Man.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Listen, I tell you, and this is a basis for this podcast, is the small towns and communities around this area have as good a musicians as they are anywhere you'll want to go.
That's it.
I mean, they can play at any level. They can play at that next level that the same people are doing it. They're just here for whatever the reason. Some people don't want to go. Some people's gone and come back.
Yep.
They're here and they're good.
And and I tell you, it's something. What I find it so strange, and I'm actually trying to help some of these guys. The greatest players around my area never advertise their gigs.
Yeah, they don't too much.
I mean, they don't even tell people when they're playing, where they're playing.
They
I'm
don't
like,
too good. They're not.
And they're just, they're going to play music.
Sure.
If you want to come. If you don't come.
And I think that's their whole thing. We're going to play. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter if you show up or not. And that in itself has been really inspiring to me, and really get to know. It's. I'm the kind of guy that if I do something, I'm going to love it.
Right.
I'm not going to do something I hate.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Well, too, that's another thing that South Carolina has. South Carolina has a lot of places for musicians to play.
Well, and that is true.
There's a lot of things. It's not just all bars. There's a lot of bars, but there's a lot of avenues and a lot of festivals, a lot of stuff that include local musicians.
Ton of festivals, farmers markets. All the farmers markets got,
sure.
And you go to a farmer's market, you're going to hear the best musicians you've ever heard, and you're like, dang, I just came for tomatoes.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Crap, I just heard the best guitar picker I've ever heard in my life.
Sure. Here in town this past weekend, two guys played gypsy jazz, which is Django Reinhardt stuff, which is just
I know
totally, man. You don't hear that everywhere.
No, heck no.
And they're really good at it, and they were up there at the farmer's market. They're local musicians, and they play that. Okay, they're local musicians, and these two guys play with other musicians and play a whole different style of music, but they like to get together and do that on the side. So that's like a totally different thing than they play with their bands and stuff, which is really cool.
That's what I've admired about Brandon was that that dude can play any genre.
Brandon can play anything.
And there ain't no way, like I was like, I need to pick one and learn it.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm sure, Brandon's been playing for a long time.
He has.
So, Brandon and I tell you, Shane Pruitt's always been a huge inspiration. I've been seeing Shane play in Spartanburg since like the early 2000s.
I always figured, and I think it's only because he really didn't want to leave the area. I always figured that he would be a star by now.
He is a star.
He is a star. I mean, he is a star. Yeah, I without a doubt, he is. But I thought he would get.
He doesn't want to be one though.
No, I mean, I would think that I always thought he would be on a national level that everybody in the world would know who he was, and he should be. He's that talented. He is. But there again, we're talking choices.
Yeah.
And
life on the road ain't for everybody.
No, it's hard.
Can you get some good stories out of it? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But are those stories going to kill you, or are they going to be worth
Yeah.
telling at the end?
Or are you going to be around to tell them, or be around to remember what they were?
Yeah.
That's another thing too. There's like, you know, musicians get in trouble because a lot of times it's even worse when you're on the road. But there's a lot of downtime, a lot of time waiting.
A lot of time to think.
Yeah, a lot of time to think, a lot of time too far away, and you sit up and you got time to kill, and it's like there's all kind of bad things you can do while you're waiting.
That's right.
You know.
And you know, you're away from people you know.
Yeah, you are.
You know, you're away from your family.
I mean, it's
friends.
easy to mess up and get yourself in trouble.
But that was you know, but the upstate has done a great job in saying, you know, you don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah,
to
they
play
have.
music.
I agree,
You
they
know,
have.
You're from
They've
Greenville.
even
You want to play music? Hang out with us.
Sure. and Greenville is such a progressive city. I mean, Greenville
It's
is
changed a lot. Since
Yeah,
I was,
yeah.
You know, I was born there in '81, and I've been there my whole life. So, you know, when I was coming up, the downtown area, you did not go to
right.
downtown Greenville
Exactly.
when I was growing up.
Yeah, and now it's one of the hottest downtown regions in the South.
Yep.
You know,
It's
it's
hopping.
I mean, it is a place. You know, people move from outside of South Carolina to live in Greenville.
That's it.
You know, the Greenville-Spartanburg area is. Well, you see what the traffic is these days.
Oh, my God.
I mean, it's as bad or worse than Charlotte.
Yeah.
You know,
But it's been good for the music business.
oh, it's good for the music business. You know, and it's a great area to live in, without a doubt.
It's an amazing area. It's a great area. Raise a family.
Business seems to be good there these days.
Yeah, man.
You know, jobs, a lot of music,
You know, they got BMW and Michelin, a lot of big names.
and then there's a lot to do. A lot to do too. A lot of entertainment
A
stuff.
lot of entertainment, and that's what I wanted to get in on. You know, it's I've always just had a fascination with entertaining people.
Well, that's a good place to be.
And then what I learned too along the way was if you can get you find somebody else to do it with you.
Yeah, it does make it
get
easier.
fun.
Yeah,
It can be, and yeah, it does. It makes it easy.
it makes it easier, and it takes the pressure off of you. It's not. I mean, the hardest job in the entertainment business to do is be a solo performer.
Acoustic
Acoustic
performance.
solo performer is hard.
And until you do it, you have no idea.
Oh, you have no idea. And then you throw in your own stuff to do, and it's just a nightmare because you're laying your soul out there. You're laying what you've
Your
worked hard on.
passion.
Yes, you are, and you're laying that out there for rejection.
That's it.
You know, I mean, it's hard. That is really hard.
It is.
And it's also, I think they do people a real disservice when they bring in one person to play for like 3 or 4 sets. It's just very few individuals can do that and keep people entertained.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really hard thing to do.
Well, Freddie taught me a secret to play really hard the first hour, and then you take a break, and then you get back to work, and then you take another long break.
True. I mean, that's true. That's what you kind of have to do. I mean, and then that way it gives them time to. Yeah, he's right. I mean.
So I tell you, Freddie's taught me. You know, I've been blessed to get to do this with some veterans and.
Well, there's more to it than just getting up there and performing. That's for sure.
Holy smokes, that's right, man.
You know, and some people are great singers or players, but can't keep people entertained. I mean,
You know, that's I've had that conversation.
yeah. I
a
mean,
few
that's
times.
I know a lot of people have seen, even people who I listen to their records and go, God, man, they're great. Then go see them, and it's like, well, he just stood there and sang. He wasn't
He
even
played the
really that
record.
good. Yeah, I mean, he really wasn't that good. You know. Then you
Well-
see other people, and man, I didn't think these guys were that good, and they just kill it live. You know.
That, and you know, I tell you, I think I don't mean this in a negative way. I think I go around and listen to a lot of local musicians and trying to just support the
Right.
scene and everything. And a lot of people just, you know, they just play song after song.
Yeah.
And and don't interact with the crowd. And I'm like, man, interact with the crowd just a little bit. All you got to do is say, hey,
Sure.
Let's get some time to get a cold beer,
Sure.
tip the bar, just anything. Like just talking to people, engaging them.
Well,
it makes a huge difference.
If I'm doing a songwriter type thing, generally all my songs come with the story. So I'm going to tell you a story about the song,
Yep.
which a lot of times people say, yeah, man, your stories are great, but your songs suck.
Well, and
No, they don't do that too much.
Nah.
But I mean,
Come on now.
they do though.
Come
Sometimes
on.
they do. Man, you got great stories. You should tell a story, be a storyteller, and don't play music, man. So it's like,
Hey, and you know what? That's another element to entertaining people
Sure.
is telling the story.
sure.
So, and that's what I like to do. And in all honesty, with my blues music, everything I do is a cover song.
Right.
But it doesn't, it's my style. I like to
No.
put my flair on.
Right.
But what you do is you tell a story. To me, part of playing the blues is teaching people,
Educating people about the blues.
Because what happened to me is I was listening to Led Zeppelin and Rolling Stones,
I love
all these
them.
great cover bands.
Yeah,
No.
that's great. Yeah, really.
But I didn't realize that they were playing other people's music.
Yeah,
The
and
guys
they were playing blues.
They were playing blues.
Yeah,
they were playing Muddy Waters.
I agree.
And they
Sure.
were playing, they were playing Blind Willie McGill.
Yeah, they were. They
And,
were.
and
Yeah.
so it's, I had no clue. I was like, I just thought it was rock and roll.
Right.
But, so I've learned that these guys are really I think a lot of it's our responsibility as musicians
To
keep that tradition alive.
Yeah.
And I've really immersed myself into the blues, and I've really in the last 5 years I haven't listened to anything but blues. I know there's a lot. Most musicians I talk to, they really like to try to stay versatile and open to other things. I'm like, yeah, I get that, but lately I listen to the music I want to play.
Well, and I think you do have to do that. I mean,
Yeah.
these days, what I would tell you that the band I'm in plays is it's a broad spectrum, but you would call it Americana.
Yep.
So Americana artists is what I listen to a lot,
Yep.
Whereas I spent most of my life listening to blues
Yeah.
or rock and roll that was based in the blues, from the Rolling Stones to Led Zeppelin to even the Beatles. That's all of that stuff goes back to that.
And I like telling the crowd when I'm playing these songs. I like telling them whose song this is
Yeah.
and where it came from.
Sure.
And and then I say when we get done here tonight, go home and Google
Sure.
these guys.
Google.
And go to Spotify and check them out.
Sure,
and,
I agree.
You might
That's
like
good.
it.
I mean, and you're being an ambassador for the blues. Basically, is what you're doing, and that's a
it's
mission
given
in
me
itself.
so much. I just want to give. I want to give back to it. That's kind of my take on it.
That's a good mission.
It was weird. I've always my whole entire life I considered myself an artist.
All right.
I like to write songs and I like to create pretty pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I started playing the blues, I was like, if I'm covering songs, am I an artist now? Or did I take myself out of that? So that's been kind of I just kind of consider it two different things.
And I think
I really want everybody to know old blues songs.
Well, and see, and then there you become. I'm going to air a David Holt, if you know who David Holt is. I just did a David Holt interview, and David did the very same thing for old time music. He made people aware of it, and that was part of his whole mission. When he would play that stuff, and it would be songs that he had learned from people, but that was his way of being a educator or ambassador for that genre of music, which is what you're doing. And that's an artist. I mean, that is art. Art takes a lot of forms, and it's not always. It's
I
not
like that
always,
perspective. I love. Who learned me old timey music was Dave Grissom.
Oh, Dave.
Now I don't listen to bluegrass.
Right.
I don't. I probably should have said that.
Yeah,
Shelby, North Carolina, and the Earl.
I'm struggling. Yeah, lightning's going to strike. Lightning might strike us.
I don't say. No, I like it. I just.
Right.
I just don't listen.
You just don't. Yeah.
But
I got you.
I love David Grissom, but he did some old timey music, and I get it.
Oh,
old timey music borderlines that.
Sure.
that
I
would
mean,
rap.
Jerry Garcia did the same thing.
Man,
you
the
know?
Pizza Tape is probably one of my
That's
favorite albums of
that's
all
great, man.
time.
Old and in the
nobody
Way.
talks about the Pizza Tape.
Right. I like the old in and away too. So I mean,
Yeah,
that's,
man.
rock and roll goes bluegrass. So I mean, I think one of the things I've learned is if you dig around much, you can find something you like in just about any kind of music.
It's true. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I still like rap music. Like I listened to hip hop as a kid, and it's just always stuck with me. And I still, now I don't listen to it as much as I do.
Right.
And quite frankly, I'm getting older.
Right.
And you know, it's called hip hop, right?
That's yeah.
It's because you know, you got to be hip.
Yeah, your life changes.
And I'm getting older. I'm not hip anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean,
I make no bones about it.
sure. I mean, there's stuff that I listened to as a kid I can't stand now. Man, I loved punk music for a while, and it's like
I was the biggest Nirvana
you know,
fan
I
growing
can't-
up, and I
I
can't
can't-
stand to hear
the
Nirvana.
Ramones, man, I can't. You know, it's like, oh God, man, that's so bad. Or Sex Pistols, that's like, I can't even believe they got a contract, much less, you know.
Oh man. the old Sex Pistols.
But you know, and the Clash. Okay, I still like the Clash.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was just so catchy.
yeah, it was. I mean, but I mean, you know, it's funny that yeah, it's funny about how music runs through your life and how it changes it. You know,
But let me say this. I'll tell you.
I like a blues player though. Wait, I like a blues player that also grew up listening to rap music, hip hop. I mean, that's cool.
So here's people compliment my rhythmic style
Right.
a lot, and it took me a little while to understand it. And I'm convinced that, you know, I grew up listening to hip hop as a kid. I mean, I was literally 15 years old before I started listening
Right.
to music with real instruments.
Right.
So, and you know, most kids they're listening to music
Yeah.
early.
Right,
So,
they are.
You know, I'm listening to stuff I shouldn't have been listening
Right.
to when I was
Exactly.
10 years
yeah.
old.
Sure. Yeah.
Stuff you had to get adults to buy.
Sure.
They had to
Yeah,
show
yeah.
ID just to buy albums.
Right.
You know?
Oh yeah.
Thanks to Nancy.
Yeah.
But so I think just listening to. I've always been drawn to music that's very rhythmic.
Well, and that might come too from that drumming background when you used to do that, you know.
It does, and I picked up the drums because of rap music.
Well, and it's also the most primal. I mean, if you really think about it,
Yeah.
everything is
you
rooted
can
in
start
the
it.
beat.
You can start doing it right then.
Everything
All you
is-
need is it.
yeah.
All you need is
It's
the drums.
Exactly. Everything. And if you break it down, okay, we'll go to Asheville now because this is my favorite Asheville theory. Okay, I mean, I am one who believes that it all starts with a drum pattern, a beat
That's
of
it.
some type, and you just build around it. So
That's
all
what
my
I
buddies
like.
from Asheville think it's not just the beat; they think it's the vibration. They think vibration sets it all in motion, which makes sense. I mean, it is rhythmic in its, you know,
Music
they'll
is
take
theoretically is vibration.
exactly, and you know that's where they go. You know, even the trees or you know they get themselves in sync. So you know we've gone to Asheville on that, and it's a beautiful thing to think that. But there again, it's still the same as saying it's based in a beat. Everything has a beat. There's a heartbeat. I mean, it's all a beat.
That's it, man. And what I learned with playing the blues is, you know, it's rhythmic.
It is rhythmic, yes,
It
without
gets
a
people
doubt.
going.
Without a doubt.
It gets people going, and it's rhythmic. Not always, but for the most part, a lot
For the
of
most
it's
part.
very rhythmic, and the storytelling is actually very simplistic,
Yeah.
but it hits you.
Yeah, it does.
You
Well,
know,
and
it's got a
usually-
lot of meaning to it.
Usually, it's something that somebody's experienced before.
You know, it's love, it's loss.
It is,
it's
love and loss, yeah.
It's hard life.
It is.
It's and you know, and hard life means different things to different people.
Well, and it's one of those relative things. Probably, being poor has a different vibe to than being rich for sure.
Yeah, and you know that was, you know, and something I've always been conscious about was, you know, it's one thing to listen to all the genres of music, but it's another thing to be a player of it.
Yeah, it is.
So, and I know that sounds kind of weird, but I've always been kind of conscious of is what I'm doing authentic? I never want to be not authentic, even playing covers. Like it's I really like to think that the way I do things is keeping things authentic. And I tell you, as a result, I've never asked somebody if they like what I do. I've never said, "Hey, man, you like what I'm doing?"
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't,
Well,
I don't care.
No.
But people.
I think
I've been doing my thing, and then people, as a result, people come to me,
Yeah, well,
with good things.
I think you just have to go do your thing and you do it for yourself and hope it's good enough,
Yeah.
And
The ride, it's been a short ride, Sandy. I mean, I started performing in 2016 and it's 2022. We're only talking 6 years.
But see, I still see the fire in your eyes. We did a songwriter thing over here, and the little girl that was out here playing with Emma, she's young, but there was 4 other songwriters on the thing, and we took a picture after it was over with. And one of the girls, a girl named Valerie Miller, she's a great songwriter. She used to play with Malcolm Holcomb. She's just
Oh man,
she's his upright bass player.
no way.
And we took a picture, and then I sent it to everybody, and she sends back and she says, "That was a lot of fun, but look at all of us older people, and you can see the road weariness in our eyes, and look at her. She's still got the belief, she's got the whole world in front of her." And I looked at all of us, and I was thinking, she's right. We've done this forever, and you can tell that it's taken a bit of a toll. You do it a long time. It takes.
It does take
so
a toll.
it is great to see
You
people.
can't let the
still.
young people know that.
Well, they won't believe you anyway.
That's right.
I mean,
They're into the spirit at that point.
I can't get it. It's like, I can't wait for that to happen to me. But right now I'm here, so I don't know. You gonna do me another song?
Man, I tell you what, man, I've really been submersed in the blues here, but you got me thinking about songs I wrote, and I literally have not played an original song in 5 years.
Well, it's okay. You don't have to, man. Just do some blues stuff.
But
that's what you're doing. That's what we're promoting.
That's right.
That's what you're doing right now.
We'll stick to that. You and I were talking about Sonny Terry, Brownie McGee. My harmonica player, Justin with the Carolina Beggars, he turned me on to Sonny Terry, Brownie McGee.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
And before that, I actually hadn't heard him that I knew of, but really, I have heard him. I just didn't.
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, and that's the way it is a lot of times,
And it's Sonny Terry, Brownie McGee. I really like their style. They tell a story. The music's just great. Nowadays I love the blues and I'm a blues player now.
I hear you.
I'm a bluesman. I'm playing with Freddie Vanderford now, and I'm very humbled about that. Every time we play, you could just see me looking at it. And I'm like, I'm really doing it.
Yeah, that's cool.
And people will say, "Look, you worked your ass off. You deserve it."
I agree. You do.
Quit acting like
You didn't.
But it's been an amazing ride, and me and Freddie, we got some shows coming up. This is a song. Let me do one.
Yeah, go.
Let me play one.
Yeah,
This is called "Living with the Blues."
Okay.
And man, I've never played this without a harmonica player. You should have brought your harmonica.
I should have. Usually I have
So,
them around.
Sonny Terry, Brownie McGee, guitar and harmonica.
Sure.
But this is one called "Living with the Blues," and I tell you another thing I like about the blues, Sandy, is that the guys never played the same song the same way.
No, they don't.
You know, especially even Lightning.
Yeah.
He's got recordings of the same
Sure.
title, but the music was different, or the words were different.
And that's the beautiful thing, too, about, well, the blues, but a beautiful thing about musicians. Just because you recorded it that way doesn't mean it has to stay that way.
That's right. So there's different versions of this one, and this is kind of my take on the one I do, and it's called Living with the Blues.
Okay.
From my childhood to where I am now, I ain't got to worry. I get by somehow. My mama had 'em, daddy too. I was born with the blues. I tell you something, this ain't no joke. I trade my past life for my waiting gold. My mama had 'em, daddy too. I was born with the blues. I use my guitar for my pillow. Hollow log in my bed. Blues, my only companion. I had to sing the blues for my beating bread. Oh, don't you know I had to roam? Oh, look at me, folk, I come from a broken home. My mama had 'em, daddy too. I was born with the blues. You ever been down? You know how it feels. Just like an engine low, no driving wheel. I'm not ashamed. That ain't news. I've been living with the blues. Yeah.
That's great,
Just a
man.
little-
That's really great.
Just a little snippet there, but
You know, that's too. We were joking along. I don't know if we were talking yet or not about the blues being 3 chords, but you just put that theory. You just shot that in the butt, man. I mean,
you know, and that's the thing. There's so many different.
that's some mighty fine sounding guitar there.
That's what I love about the blues is that it can go in a lot of different directions, you know, and I know we might be running long on this deal here. I'm not sure, but
We're about right.
but I tell you one thing, Sandy. I got one thing I want to mention is I got an album coming out.
Oh, really? Yeah,
So,
you need we need to talk about that.
So, about earlier in the year, this year, I did, well, actually it was December last year, I did a podcast in Statesville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
With a musician named Matt Walsh.
Yeah, I know Matt.
So I'm convinced every musician in North Carolina knows Matt. He's
Matt's
been doing it for a long time.
Matt's a blues man too.
He is a blues man. And, he reached out to me like you did, and he said, hey, man, I'm doing a podcast. I like what you got going on down there in South Carolina. You want to come up here and do it? And I was like, yeah. So I drove up there. This was right before Christmas last year, and we did the thing, and man, me and Matt hit it off.
Yeah, Matt's a good guy.
He's a fantastic guy, man, and amazing player.
Yeah, I want to get him to come down and do the podcast.
You need to get him to come down here and do this podcast.
Yeah,
I'll talk to him.
Yeah,
I'll talk to him.
Yeah.
So he knew, I told him while we were there doing the podcast, he kind of like on every podcast with a musician, they're like, well, what's next?
Yeah.
And I said, well, man, I was like, I really want to record an album. Like, I've been doing this 5 or 6 years now, and
I'm ready. Yeah.
I need to record. Like,
Right.
I finally, I'm ready now.
Right.
And he was like, well, that's cool. And he was like, yeah, you definitely need to do that. And that was kind of it, right? And months later, after the New Year's, probably February, he reaches out and he said, look, man, he's like, I got a guy in town with a studio, and he was like, we could put this together. And I was like, are you serious? I was like, don't tease me, dude, because like I want to do this, and but I didn't even know where to start.
Right.
Like, I mean, again, I really, before I consider myself a musician, I really just kind of call myself an entertainer.
Right.
And I really hate even calling myself a musician sometimes, but Matt was like, dude, you know, this is your time. Like, he's like, and I've learned, getting to know Matt. He's got a good eye and ear for what's going on.
Yeah, he does.
And you got to be careful because he'll call you out too. But hey, that's what that's what you love about it. That's why you like people.
True.
You like people who keep it.
Well, I mean,
real.
And you have to do that,
You do. Sometimes you got to let people know.
Hurts. It hurts sometimes, and it hurts to say it sometimes.
Hey, Matt told me, he was like, Gary, you still got a lot of practicing to do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're damn right I do. And I'm like, and thanks for telling me.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes
you gotta. He's like, you're good, but you can be way better.
Yeah, well, I mean,
and sometimes that's what you need from another musician.
True, it is.
Because your friends and family are going to say you're the greatest
thing
that's ever
happened. Yeah, they are. They are.
So you know how that goes. So Matt reached out and man, it snowballed really quick from end of February, and at the end of April, we're in the studio doing this. And
in Statesville.
In Statesville.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, so I'm on the way. We're doing it on a Sunday, right? That's the time to do studios on a Sunday.
Yeah, it's a good time.
And so I'm leaving Greenville and I'm heading up here. My tire blows out. So this stuff gets set up months in advance.
It does, yeah.
You rent the studio. I need this studio for 8 hours.
Sure.
So we get it all worked out. So I'm on the way and my tire blows out. And me being the slack ass I am, I didn't have a spare.
Oh, Lord.
Because it already blew out on me before. And I've got the spare on there now. So I was like, freaking A. My wife went through an amazing amount of obstacles to get a tire to me on the side of I-85.
Wow.
From the time my tire blew out, in 2 hours' time, I was back on the road.
Wow. That's pretty good from Greenville.
And, I think she would rather me just, called it right then. It's like, it's not happening. But I'm the kind of guy that, like, once I get things, we're doing this.
Right.
Like, it's just who I am. Once we get going, there ain't no backing out.
Right.
We're doing this. We're invested. We're doing it.
Right.
So I get there 2 hours late. Now I got 6 hours.
Exactly, yeah.
Me and Matt get this thing knocked out in 6 hours.
That's great.
I've never been in a studio in my life.
The whole thing?
The whole damn thing.
Really?
In 6 hours. I've never been in a studio in my life.
That's crazy.
But I'm just like, you know what? What else could go wrong? Like, I don't blow the tire and got my wife bringing me tires and family coming to help me try to get to where I need to be. And man, my mom, dad, and my wife all came to my rescue to make sure.
That's great,
because
man.
This is the dream, This was the dream,
sure.
And I've been very blessed to have such a supportive wife and my kids too, man. To help see their old man.
It takes support,
It especially at this level that I'm at with a wife and kids and just playing locally.
Well, I mean, I think it takes support at any level.
That's true.
I mean,
no doubt.
There's I could sit here and do a whole podcast of stories of, so my wife asked me to quit the band, and I quit. And then I come in one day, and she says, "You've been cheating on me." And I said, "What?" And she says, "Yeah, you've been going off and rehearsing with another band and been going off and playing jobs, telling me you were working late and stuff." And, then they say, so you got to choose one or the other. And the guy says, "Well, baby, I love you, and I'm sure going to miss you."
I tell you what, I've talked to more guitar players that have left their wives to play guitar than not.
Sure, I mean, it's a common thing.
I ain't going there, big dog.
Everybody. Yeah. I mean, you know, that's
And I don't love nothing in this world more than I love
There
my
you go,
wife.
man. That's the right answer. I'm proud of you. That's the right answer. Because I have this other theory too. While we're at that, people who are married to musicians, male or female, and sound men, both get into heaven for free.
There's a meme going around Facebook that says, have you been involved in a relationship with a musician? You may be entitled to compensation. You need to dial all nines and get George Sink on the phone.
Exactly. I mean, I think that's the case. You know, I have a ton of respect for people who live with musicians.
So me and Matt knocked this album out. in
Just
6
you and
hours.
Matt? Did you do it? Just the two of you?
Just me and Matt. We
Really?
did the album. Man, I don't want to. I wanted Freddie to come with me, but the timing just didn't work
Right,
out.
yeah.
And it was 3 hours away.
Sure. Yeah, I understand.
And that's no pay.
Yeah, I
I couldn't
understand.
pay him to do it,
Right.
so it's like I got all my money wrapped up in the studio.
Sure.
And
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
understand.
that's a lot to ask for somebody to do something for free.
Yeah.
So, me and Matt cut this whole album, 8 songs.
Oh.
We did 8 songs.
Yeah.
In 6 hours, with Luke Burnett. It's his studio. I can't remember the name of it now. I feel terrible. Neon Puzzle Studios.
Okay.
God, I hope that's right. Because Luke and Matt were both, man, I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better experience because, again, it was my first time in the
Right.
studio, and we got it knocked out, and, I thought that was going to be the hardest part of the project was recording the album.
Yeah.
Well, I've since found out the hardest part of this whole album is making an album cover.
Well, yeah, that's hard too. I mean, I agree. That part's hard too.
And it was really, I was just going to throw it out there, right? Hey, I made an album. Check it out.
Right.
And Matt really encouraged me. He goes, this is your dream to, he's like, do it like the big guys.
Sure.
Do it
Yeah.
like the big dogs and make it the big dream come true, And I was like, you're right. In fact, Matt he was like, man, you need to do a music video. We need to do a single.
Did you do it?
No, man, I was like, dang, it's money, man.
Yeah, I mean, it is money.
It's all money.
Yeah, it is money, without a doubt.
It's it's still not out of the realm of possibility, but I really want to get this thing released.
Yeah, right.
And we finally got some album picks about 2 weeks ago, so everything's rolling in motion now. I'm getting everything set up. Gonna get some CDs made, hard copies,
Right.
and get on all the streaming platforms.
Right.
And I'm really excited.
And when is this going to happen?
So August the 30th.
Oh, really?
Well,
End of the month.
I'm the kind of guy that I better set a damn deadline or it's
Yeah,
never
it
going to
won't
get
happen,
done.
yeah,
So
right.
I've decided to make it August the 30th to help me try to get this done.
Let me look at August the 30th.
And that's a Tuesday.
It's a
So
Tuesday.
remember when we were growing up, and I know we're a little different in age, but remember when we were growing up and we had to go to the music store to get albums? We went on Tuesdays.
Yeah, we did.
They came out on Tuesdays.
Yep.
That's when the new releases
It
came
is.
out.
It is.
And I said, you know what? Hey, if I'm doing it, I'm going to do it
That's
right.
old school, and that's old school way too, because now it's Friday, so I like that.
Is it? I didn't
Fridays
even know
now.
that.
It's Fridays now, so that's cool.
I didn't even know that. I don't know new stuff comes out until somebody tells me.
Yeah, it's Fridays now, but I love the old school part
Oh,
of that.
man, I'm I just wish Manifest Discs and Tapes and
Yeah, I
Greenville
wish
was
that
still
stuff's
open.
still open. Yeah,
Because
well,
I'd take some hard copies down there and just sit on the curb.
there's
and hand them
nothing.
out for nothing.
There's nothing like going in a record store and seeing your.
Of course, we still got Horizon Records.
True, you do.
In Greenville, Gene's got an amazing place over there. And
You know, at least you're at a stage. I have these buddies not
where I know about record stores.
Well, yeah, you are. But this is funny. I have these buddies. They play in a band called Acoustic Syndicate. They're just fabulous band. They got a new record out. But
Oh, y'all buddies?
yeah, we buddies.
Come on, man. It's one of my favorite bands.
Oh, really? Oh, those guys are great guys. Yeah. So.
They're awesome. They're
So-
they're kind of like that jam
Oh,
band.
they are, man. They're awesome, and they have they just released a new record.
I think
too.
I saw them live in '99 or 2000. with string cheese, leftover salmon, and all.
Man.
And they were like the opener,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But man, they played one song for like an hour and a half.
Oh, yeah,
the same
man.
song. I was like, man,
Fabulous guy.
wow.
Well, it's Steve, one of the guys in the band, is working at the DOT. So this guy, one of the guys, comes to him one day and says, "Hey, man, look what I found on the side of the road when we was cleaning up." And it was an Acoustic Syndicate CD. He said, "They must have not liked it, man. They just threw it out the window." You know? Well, this is funny. I was in a band, and I was on eBay looking for something else, and somebody says, "Hey, man, I've seen one of y'all's records, and they want $60 for it." And I said, $60? And I went on there. Sure enough, they did. They wanted $60 for it. And I was thinking, man, at the time we did that, you could have probably bought the whole batch for $60, you know?
Right.
So
Hey, I can't. I'm not even expecting to sell my copies of it. I'm getting them made just to hand them out.
Yeah.
But I just I'm really proud of it. And
you'll get Spotify money now too.
there you go. Get
your
1
royalty,
cent.
yeah, royalty checks like I do, 7 cents, 14 cents. I'm thinking, how can y'all even send this out? You know,
Yeah, it
costs
costs more money.
Yeah, it's it's
Something
gonna
just don't
cost
add
you a
up
stamp
like that.
from me to get my 17-cent royalty check.
Something just don't add up.
Nah, yeah.
But yeah. So the album coming out. All your listeners can check me out at Carolina Slim. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Carolina Slim. I actually got a website, carolinaslimblues.com. Not everybody's on social media.
No, they're not.
Even the young people.
But you have to be on it if you have to play that game if you want anybody to hear your stuff.
You do.
I mean, people.
That's
say,
where the mass is.
It
That's
is.
still where the mass is.
It is, and people say, man, you don't get no money from Spotify. Well, guess what? If you're not on Spotify, nobody's hearing your music.
That's the key.
I mean,
the key.
You want people to hear it. Hey, it's just
It's part of it. It's
part of it.
And is it right?
No. I mean, we can sit here and say without a doubt it's not right.
But the truth is, and I've talked to musicians that have been doing it, like Freddie has been doing it for years. At the end of the day, the musician is always tied to who's gonna
True.
to the distributor or
True.
to the label or
Yeah.
to the platform. At the
Yeah.
end of and even the venues we play around town.
Sure.
Like, I mean, we're nobody without a place to play.
I agree.
So it's like, I've seen some musicians bashing venues, and I'm like, bash them all you want, but I was like,
Well,
none of us would have gigs without venues.
I mean, and the price to play or to get a band or get an individual is the same as it was when I was a kid. I mean, it's never really changed.
I know.
There's only 2 levels: the big time and the no time. I mean,
And and I've recently talked to a brewery owner about this, and you know what? The guy actually showed me his bookkeeping records.
right?
He just, he pull that stuff
Sure.
up on a phone
Yeah.
nowadays.
Oh yeah.
QuickBooks.
Sure.
And he's like, look. He's like, look, man. He's like, you tell me.
Yeah,
He's like,
exactly.
look what I just made tonight.
Yeah.
He was like, what do you think I could pay people?
Exactly.
And there's just, so, I know the musicians a lot are hollering about, want to get paid more, but at the same time, these bars, it costs money to run a bar.
Well, and I have always been of the opinion everybody wants to hear the fiddler, but nobody wants to pay him. So I mean, and that's the bad thing. Yeah, at least it's not bluegrass. Then you have to play for a hot dog and exposure.
My thing is if you're not playing music because you love it, then you just don't need it.
Well, and there's no other way. There's no other reason to play it.
Yeah.
Because even if you make it, even if you're at the big time, it's a traveling second, third shift job. I mean,
and
and the bottom line, truthfully, when you cut through all of the stuff that you have to pay when you're big, guess what? It
still ain't making no money.
Still ain't making as much as what you think. And it's like the old record deals, just like you said just now about the video and all. Okay, so I've signed a big record contract. Well, they're going to shoot a video, but that's coming out of the money that they gave, that they're taking all that off of before I ever get a penny. They might give me an advance of this much, but before I ever see another penny, they're going to take the videos out. They're going to take all that stuff out. And when it's all said and over, it's not as big as what you thought it was.
Every time.
You know?
And So yeah, but I'm really excited about it coming out, and then me and Freddie Vanderford got some gigs lining up. We're gonna play with Shane Pruitt and Joe Powers and Jason Pruitt with Hurt and Skip.
Yeah, that's
coming
cool.
up this month, and we got a festival out in Travelers Rest we're going to play.
Yeah.
Actually, as long as I've been doing this, I hadn't even played in Travelers Rest.
Really?
I was born and raised there, but I've been in Simpsonville, which is basically the other side of the county. They're two separate sides of the county, and I just hadn't made it over there, and so we're looking forward to that. Going to be playing a festival out there on the 20th in TR, and August the 26th at Tribbles with Hurt and Skip. Really looking forward to that. And I was talking with Freddie about it, telling him about the gig, and he said, he hadn't him and Shane been playing off and on together.
Yeah.
They played together for many years.
Yep.
Millbilly Ford, probably
Sure,
my
man.
favorite. I mean,
That's
Matthew
good
Knight
stuff, yeah.
And Brandon and Shane, and man, I mean, I love that. I mean,
That's
like
good
I just
stuff,
listen
man.
to it over and over and over.
I've
and
listened
I just
to
can
it,
never
too.
get enough of it. And all these guys have just been a huge inspiration. And I'll tell everybody that they're the ones that made me realize that I could do this.
Well, that's good, man. I mean,
And so Freddie said he hadn't really seen Shane in a while, and certainly since he started the Hurt and Skip
Right.
band. So we're looking forward to
that would be a good
doing
combination,
doing
man.
a show with them. So
Yeah.
we'll be a little bit more acoustic,
Right.
and then opening the show, and then man, if anybody's never heard Skip live, it's one thing. Their albums are fantastic. I got them on repeat, but man, it's a whole nother experience to see them live.
Yeah,
and it is just it's very the music. It just really soaks you in, and it's you forget where you're at. You think you're in the best place to be.
Well, I mean, that's a good show. Y'all,
That's gonna be a good show.
That's a good combination. That's the blues. That's the South Carolina blues as good as it gets right there.
I'm just really excited about it. So
Well,
got that coming up.
what else we need to know?
That's it, man. Really just mainly the biggest thing I'm excited about is releasing this album called All Around Man.
That's what I was getting ready to ask.
All
you.
Around Man, written by Bo Carter. Mississippi Sheiks. They are some of the
they're cool.
first known blues players. They were family, and Bo Carter. I would definitely encourage people to go check out Bo Carter.
Mm-hmm.
He did a lot of vulgar.
Yeah.
He did a lot of racy stuff.
Well, a lot of the stuff was anyway.
It was dirty stuff,
Yeah, it
man.
was.
And I love the dirty stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I still
And me and Freddie, we got a whole set now.
sitting down with
of
that
dirty
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah, that's great.
And it's people love it. When you start playing it,
Oh, yeah, they
people
do.
start perking up. They're like,
Sure
"Wait,
they do.
what did he just say?"
Yeah.
And then everybody gets quiet. But it's fun.
Yeah,
and that's
it
what
was
it's all about.
Yeah.
And I'm a big Bo Carter fan, and he's got this song called All Around Man, and I've been listening to it forever, and I love it. And I finally came up with my own little version that I just love, and the people love it. They seem to really like it, and that's kind of the lead track off of the album.
Well, that's a good name for an album too.
It is.
anyway.
It is. It's the All Around Man.
That's great.
It's August the 30th. That's coming out. Spotify, iTunes, get hard copies. CarolinaSlimBlues.com.
There you go. We got you covered. I appreciate you coming down.
Thanks for having me, Sandy. It's been a pleasure.
Me too, Gary. Thanks.